Hello, sunshine. Welcome to Be Visible with Veronica, the podcast where bold conversations and soul-aligned strategy help you awaken your most powerful self. I'm your host, Veronica Bond. Get ready to stop dimming your light, own your magic, and finally be so visible you can't be ignored. Let's get visible. Hello, sunshine. Welcome back to Be Visible with Veronica. Last week's episode was all about our nonprofit, Lifeology. I encourage you to take a listen because this is Youth Hope Month, and Zanetta Alexander shares her story on how she is saving the youth in Arizona, ages 14 to 24. You're going to want to listen to that. So this is Gratitude Month, and today's episode launches on Thanksgiving. And I just wanted to share with my viewers, my audience, my friends, my family, and of course my guests, a sincere thank you and appreciation for being vulnerable in these episodes. They're non-scripted, they're willing to have a deep conversation, and those who are listening and commenting and sharing and supporting Be Visible with Veronica. I'm so grateful for my family, for my sweet brother who gave me the inspiration to create a platform for women entrepreneurs to share their voice, to speak loudly, to step courageously with confidence into their mission so that this can reach a global audience and impact the world in a way that is beautiful and touching, inspirational, thought-provoking, discerning, challenging, and solutions-oriented. My journey would not have occurred had I not had my beautiful support of my family, my wonderful husband of 37 years. I'm like doing the math really quick in my head, 37 years. And my kids who are all in for mom. So with that, I wanted to introduce you today to Andrea Merrill. We're going to talk about why she's a TEDx strategist, has a master's in psychology, how she's been able to build this beautiful, successful business for herself and her clients with the support of an incredible 21-year marriage and 5 kids ages 7 to 17. Andrea, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to be on this podcast, and I'm extremely grateful for you.
I loved it when you told me the other day, I've binge listened and watched. When does the next episode come out? And I thought, you need to be a guest on the show because I've started to get to learn about you more, learn about your journey as we've networked, and you're such an all-in. I mean, we met when you jumped into a membership with eWomen Network that I'm the executive managing director of here in Phoenix and Scottsdale, and you'd never come to one event. And we didn't even have a call. You just joined.
Yeah, I just joined.
And I'm thinking, who does that? This is amazing. Without having a touch first, some kind of touchstone to what this feels like, what the community's like. You were just all in.
I'm all in. And I believe it's all about the customer journey. And what was there really stood out to me. And I knew even if I wasn't going to join a actual in-person event just yet, I wanted to be plugged in and I didn't want to forget about it. So I jumped all in. And you're right, I'm an all-in girl.
You are an all-in because I called you and you immediately, or I sent you a text and we immediately got on a call and I learned about you. And then you're so beautifully at slowly opening up. There's just this beautiful flower. Sunshine gives you a little bit of warm and you open your petals a little more and a little more and a little more. And you let people come in and have this lovely experience with you. And it's not just pouring all over them. You are very gentle and discerning on how you let people come into your world. And I think there's just this beautiful grace around that. And I love that about you.
Oh, thank you so much. The way you said that was so eloquent, and I fully receive it.
Well, you finally started coming to some meetings so that we can learn. And then you were, how can I participate on the leadership team? How do I become, like, what's your premium program? I want to be in a room with those high achievers, high thinkers, women who are outside the box strategists. And I've experienced you watching you walk the walk with community and literally drive almost an hour to get to some of these in-person events.
Yeah.
But then we started talking about your business.
Yeah.
And then we started sharing about your life and how you almost lost yours.
Yeah.
And that profound, unexpected journey led you to where you are now. It's not like you just woke up and had this success. You had to live first.
Yeah.
Why don't you share with our viewers and listeners what that was like for you? What was going on in your world that made you decide to do something more purposeful and then leave a legacy for your children with your husband?
Yeah, thank you for opening this question. It was really hard getting started, right? I am not opposed or not uncommon of trauma in my life. So I've actually almost died twice with both of my daughters, my pregnancies. My second one, which is my fifth child, is what did it for me. So I have my master's degree in science of psychology of applied behavioral analysis. I was a behavior and trauma therapist for high profile cases here in Arizona. I not only worked with the victims, I also worked with the perpetrators. I really wanted to understand everything. And you're right, when I go all in, I go all in.
You do.
I was doing rapid response. I was doing all the things that I could possibly do because I believed in my mission. And that mission, since I was a little girl, is I want to give a voice to those that don't have one. Well, when you are a behavior and trauma therapist, you actually take their voice from them. I'm the one that stood up in court. I'm the one that stood up at the DCS meetings. I'm the one that was forefront. They would tell me what they needed, and I would go in and I would make it happen. So that's amazing. Loved it. But then at 20 weeks pregnant with my fifth child, my appendix ruptured. It was the most traumatic experience that I have ever encountered. I remember going to the hospital, and the doctors were talking about sending me home because it is extremely rare to have your appendix rupture when you are pregnant. So the nurse is saying, hey, if you don't get a CAT scan, like, they are going to send you home. My amazing husband was like, I want her to have a CAT scan just in case it's her appendix. The moment I came out, I was getting airlifted out. It did rupture. Yeah, and it was an awful experience. So I got airlifted out, not only once, but twice. I also had to be ambulanced one time as well, too, because when they took me in, they couldn't remove everything that my gallbladder had ruptured, everything that was in there. All the toxins. So were
you having sepsis then?
Yes, I was having sepsis, which led to a drain being placed, me catching MRSA, me being hospitalized.
How old were you at this time?
I was 30.
And this is your fifth child?
My fifth child. She was my oopsie baby. I actually started having severe migraines, which they were trying to do process of elimination, and they removed my birth control. Well, what happens when you remove birth control? I ended up getting diagnosed with papilledemia pseudotumor cerebri. So I actually have a benign tumor that pushes on my eyes that I constantly live with. It's not anything that I think will ever go away. So after this experience, while I'm in the hospital, I had helped a friend build $1 million business.
This is an incredible story. So somebody's going to be listening going, wait, what do you mean you helped her build $1 million business? Did she come and sit with you at the hospital? Was she already on track? Like, fast forward through that story a little bit.
Yeah. So, no, she had hit maybe $250,000 in her business based out of Colorado. She had a CBD company and they weren't doing well. They really needed a revamp of their entire brand, their visibility, which you know all too well. If you are not visible, if you are not in your brand and you are not authentic, you are not going to get clients. And I knew about building a business because I actually built a sewing business when I was pregnant with my third child. And I had actually never sewed in my life. And I sold a cloth diaper. And with that proceeds, I was able to go buy a sewing machine.
Oh my gosh.
And I had prayed and I was like, God, please give me the strength and the courage to be able to do this. And I built a very successful sewing business.
So you knew what it was like to, again, the through line for entrepreneurs. There's a problem. The entrepreneur has a solution and they're willing to just follow their divine guidance into what that could look like for them. And then everything else begins to fall into place.
Yeah.
And so you had all of this experience growing and building your own business, plus you have this master's in psychology.
Yeah.
Plus you understand humans.
Yes.
And you understand the human psychology.
Yes.
What is the buyer's journey? Without feeling the need to sell to them, but create a storyline and the origin story for the entrepreneur that started. And so here's your friend. They've hit their $250,000, but they are struggling. And she's talking to you while you're in the hospital, and you start giving her some insight.
I give her some insight. Not only that, is she brought me on as a brand manager. So I was actually hiring out the branding, the SEO, the web design.
But by your creative direction.
Well, I hired wrong.
Oh, no. So that didn't go well the first time around.
So she calls me. She's like, where is this brand? I try and get a hold of her. Nothing. So you know what I do? I go and build them a brand. I send it to them. Well, the woman finally came around and actually handed over what she had created about a week or two later. And they go, I don't want that. I want what you created.
So you created a brand deck for somebody else to follow, and they went with yours.
They went with mine.
They didn't follow it. So you had to dig a little deeper and go a little further. So you tried to hire. This is a really interesting story because you knew in order to be successful at what you were doing, you didn't want to do all the deliverables. So you thought with your strategy and your creative, you could hire a team that would then go do the implementation.
Exactly.
And it fell flat.
It fell flat.
That's a real story to tell because that realization for you, you had to have that conversation. Not only were you navigating what didn't deliver to the client, you now have to let go of this team that you thought was the team.
Yeah. I thought it was the team. I thought for sure. She posts on Facebook all the time. She had these amazing brands. And we often see this, don't we? We see a lot of people that publicize.
The optics look good.
Mm-hmm. But everything else, that
good and
customer
sexy.
journey was
a mess.
Absolute mess.
So what did you learn from that helped you now get into the scaling space for her? But now for you, it opened up Pandora's box because you started to do more creative, more deliverables. You saw a bigger picture here, a greater need.
I did. And let me preface this with, I only had my iPhone 8. I had no laptop.
How many years ago was this?
This was back in 2018.
Okay.
So literally didn't have a laptop. I didn't have the funds. I didn't have the money. I only had my iPhone 8.
And you had
and
you
me.
And your smarts.
But I didn't realize that until I started diving in and I started creating and I started being curious and I started having fun. I had a blast. I did their website. I did their SEO. I did their branding. I got on sales calls. I did a lot and I had a blast doing it.
Well, that's important.
Yeah.
Because if you're not having fun,
no, then you're not going to.
You need to go do the next thing.
Exactly.
So you decided to do this huge shift and pivot. So you helped this client, company grow to $1 million.
Yep.
How long did it take them to get there from the time you came into the picture?
Oh my goodness, less than 6 months.
What?
Less than 6 months, because I was with her when I was 20 weeks pregnant. And then by the time that I had delivered my daughter, she had hit $1 million.
Wow.
So I was fine. It was only while I was really in the hospital. So that was definitely less than 6 months, because I was in the hospital for 3 months.
So do you think that because you you kind of had some alone time?
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
You didn't have the 4 other kids,
No.
the household you were running. So you basically created a business from your back in the hospital.
I absolutely did, because
Wow.
I'm an all-in girl. It's all about that.
You're going to lay me here on my back. I
Yes.
guess I'm meant to reach for more.
Exactly. I didn't want to be stagnant. And also, I'm a giver.
Huge.
I want to give and support and help. And I didn't get paid for this.
I was going to say, I bet you did, because of that you didn't put value.
Right.
So that might have been lesson number 2.
Yes. Lesson number 2. But what I learned from it was I came home. I had her a month early. I was home only 7 days and my water broke. And I had never had this happen with any of my other children. And then after having her, I came home to foreclosure, the HOA auctioning off my home, and my water being turned off. Yeah. And all we had was this crappy red van that had no AC and literally caught fire in North Carolina when we lived there. Like I like to say she doesn't love weather.
Oh, wait a minute. Andrea, you come home from delivering your 5th after all the trauma that you had.
Yeah.
And the HOA is closing on your house.
Yep.
And you have a new baby with your 5 children, and now you have to live out of a van. Yes or no? No.
No.
What happened?
This
Tell
is
me
where
what
the
happened.
fun story comes in.
Yes, okay.
So this is where so the water is only in my name. I had to drive to the water company without my newborn baby, which was very eye-opening too. I had PTSD. I had went through severe trauma. I had definitely deep depression, but I didn't recognize it until that drive. So I cried all the way to the water company. I have no idea how I turned on my water, but you better believe that when I got in that van, I turned on a podcast. And I was like, okay, Andrea, it's time to pull up your big girl panties. You are the only one that can do this, because my husband couldn't work any more hours. He was a correctional officer. And I thought if I was to go back, at that time I was a therapist in the prison, I'm not going to make the money to get out of the hole that we were in. So on the way home, I thought, if I helped her, I can help other people. So I came home.
So there's some quiet time that happens.
Yes.
So hopefully not in a traumatic situation.
Right.
But giving yourself time to be quiet and still.
Yeah.
That's why I think business retreats, and maybe
So
not where
important.
you're busy 12 and 10 hours a day, but you're going and you're immersed with other people. And because this is for women entrepreneurs, finding other women entrepreneurs who want to grow and take some quiet time and step away and turn off the device.
Yes.
And be still, to listen, to hear, to create, to let in the purpose-driven life.
Yeah.
So you had those forced upon you.
I had them forced. I did not choose them. I'm not used to quiet time with all my children. I really don't know what that feels like, because I'm constantly going.
So you have quiet time in the hospital.
Yep.
And then you have quiet time in the van.
In the van on the way home
And
to
you're
make
listening to a podcast.
the biggest decision of my life, which I didn't realize it then.
Wow.
So I go home, I blow up this air mattress in our old guest bedroom, and I take my baby in there, and I was like, I have my iPhone, I have an Audible I can listen to. So I bought Life Worry Over Wander. That's the name of the book. It's by Amber Ray.
Worry
Over Wander. Because those were what I was feeling. I felt like I was worrying and I was wandering through life, and I was like, what am I doing? And I thought it was being a behavior and trauma therapist until this whole situation had happened. So I built my website on my iPhone 8.
You did not.
I did. I did.
Oh my gosh. So what did you call it? Because you had to go buy the domain. So.
Yeah, so it was called Virtually Adventurous.
Okay.
Yep. We were virtual. I'm adventurous. I love to hike. I love to camp. Like, I love being out in wilderness.
So you buy the .com.
Yep.
And you use that platform, Word or Wix or whatever.
I use Squarespace.
Squarespace. Yep. And you created
I created a whole website. And within 7 days, I landed $12,500.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Good for you.
Yeah, I got 3 clients.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So when people bring up excuses or challenges, I'm like, I built my website on my iPhone 8. That is all I had available to me. And I wasn't going to let it
iPhone 8
stop me. Again, I'm all in, and I'm going to figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
What year was that?
That was 2018.
Okay.
Yep.
So fast forward to 2025. Mm-hmm. You've helped clients now through your TEDx strategy.
Yep.
Bring in 6 figures from stages.
Yes.
By creating small tweaks or starting from scratch, pulling their story out.
Yep.
Using the power of the psychology, the power of mind.
Yes.
Not taking no for an answer because you have tenacity and fortitude.
Yeah.
You've changed your bank account in circumstances, I'm guessing.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, that business was very successful. I hit 6 figures my first year in business.
Incredible.
Brought my husband home. He didn't have to go to work anymore. It was fabulous.
Wow.
But 3 years ago, I burnt down that business because I wasn't happy anymore in it.
And you were burned out.
And I was burned out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about that because there are entrepreneurs out there, and I've coached quite a few of them that and we strategize, and what we come to find out that it's okay to pivot and shift from where you started to where you want to go. Mm-hmm. It's okay to bless and release that part of who you are, that part of your story, in order to build the next one or go on the next journey, or you strengthen your muscle to a point where it's time to stretch it again.
Yeah.
To grow. What did that feel like for you? Was it a decision of, if I don't do this, I'm going to fall apart again, like something might happen to my health, or there might be trauma around those similar feelings of, oh my gosh, I've been here. How did you navigate through that, Andrea?
Yeah, I woke up and realized that I wasn't serving my purpose. I was standing or sitting behind a desk, behind building websites and brands that were amazing and were obviously generating millions of dollars for my clients, which I absolutely loved. But again, I go back to that little girl that said, I want to give a voice to those that don't have one. And what do speakers do? They give a voice to those that don't have one. And then it creates a ripple effect. They hear your story. They hear you on stage. They hear you in these conversations, right? Being here. And then they're ready to go on and create their ripple. And that's when I realized I am meant for more. And I also thought I wasn't a writer because I do keynote writing. I write my clients' content. I write it and I bring it to life. And I thought I wasn't good enough for that. And then I realized I am good enough for that. I am strong and capable, and I can write.
Well, and I want to take a moment for a point of differentiation, because when you and I had this conversation, we talked about you didn't discover you were writing because of AI and ChatGPT. You were doing all of this writing before that became so mainstream.
Yeah.
You had a skill set that you had developed through all of your years of education and your reading and your research and how you were bringing the words to life on a page for your client.
Yeah.
AI, you told me, just helped you be better at what you were doing because it shortened the time frame in which you were getting to that end point.
Yeah.
Which then allowed your clients to experience growth faster.
Yes. Yes, because I can turn around a keynote way faster now because I have that support. I'm able to go in there.
It's a tool.
It's a tool. It is not something that you want to use as a replacement of you. Let me say that.
Say it again.
Yeah. It is not. It is a tool. It is not a replacement of you. It is such a human-to-human interaction. And we got to remember, human-to-human is a connection.
Like now.
Yes. Yes.
That's why it's so important for me on Be Visible with Veronica to have these in-person studio interviews.
Yeah.
Create this beautiful product for other people to listen to and be a part of and sponsor and see the growth globally. Because you can listen to it anywhere that a podcast streams, but watching the interaction and me being able to look in your eyes and feel the energy and kind of let the conversation flow where it needs to, that's what's so magical and beautiful in these stories.
It is. And that's where I realized in my clinical experience, that's where the magic happens. When I get on these calls to do what I call a story mining experience.
Love the story mining experience.
Yes.
So good.
It is a 2-hour deep dive, which is all of my clinical techniques to bring you through and find the stories that you're not telling. Because a lot of us speakers, we come up with stories that we feel our audience needs to hear, but we're not actually bringing out the stories that they need to hear to inspire, connect, and convert. So I like to do what I did as a therapist. I like to excavate and mine and talk to them and be curious. Just like this conversation right here. 2 hours goes by so fast.
Like this 30 minutes.
Yes.
So Andrea, how can people get a hold of you and learn more?
Yes, they can go to andreamerrill.co or find me on LinkedIn with Andrea Merrill.
Do you also have, is the virtual adventure still active?
It is not.
Okay.
I went through a whole rebrand and removed that because speakers should be known by their name.
I agree.
You got to lead with being a leader.
And you know, at first I wanted to call this podcast Hello Sunshine, and people loved it who knew me. But it was my daughter who said, well, first I knew that Reese Witherspoon had that name, and it was on YouTube already. It's her book club. So I was hoping maybe she wouldn't have renewed her trademark. But alas, she did. So, but it was on purpose.
That's a blessing.
It was a blessing because I followed those instincts and some guidance in those long conversations with my brother. And when I gave 3 names or 4 names, we whittled it all the way down to 3. And everybody told me, you speak on visibility. You guide women to own their power. I love my Wonder Woman shoes I wear. I'll have to bring them on set sometime. But be visible with Veronica. And my daughter in her 30s said, Mom, I listen to podcasts all the time. And if you don't quickly tell people what they're getting out of listening to you, Hello Sunshine's great for everybody who knows you. But they don't really know what you're going to be talking about. And here we are today talking about these intricacies of creating a business, a brand. And then you stepped into it and right out of the gate, $12,500 from her iPhone 8.
Yes.
And Audible, and the book you listened to was Worry, Not Wonder?
Worry over wander.
Worry over wonder.
Yeah.
I just want to breathe that in for a minute. Oh my gosh. Well, Andrea, as we're getting ready to wrap up here, and we'll put how to connect with you on our show notes. You're somebody who's listened and binged listened and watched Be Visible with Veronica. What would you say is the stickiness to it? Why should others listen?
Oh my
or
goodness.
watch?
I literally was watching on the way here because I was like, I'm not caught up. And I was so excited to see another episode.
I love this.
The point is seeing other women that are phenomenal and being willing to step out in that vulnerability. And that's what I love about this. I love how it's not scripted. It's that you brought the human into podcasting and your TV show. And that's what keeps me coming again and again and again, because I never know what I'm going to get, but I know what I'm going to get at the end of it is inspiration to take action in my business and in my personal life.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. So if you want more stories and you want others to hear, please share Be Visible with Veronica. Subscribe, comment. We actually answer our comments. The guests answer. And I have some fun things that are coming up for those that are joining us and subscribing and becoming followers of our movement and our mission. And if you want to know as an entrepreneur what your visibility says about you, go to myvisibilityquiz.com and find out for yourself what your visibility says before you even walk into a room. Stay tuned for next week's episode with Tracy Castor, where we share again her gratitude for her family, her husband of 24 years, and her incredible business and how it looks to live a good life. Bye for now, and happy Thanksgiving. Thanks for tuning in to Be Visible with Veronica. If today's episode sparked something in you, share it, tag me, and pass it on. Your presence has power, and the world is better when you let it be seen. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and keep showing up as the unstoppable force you were born to be. I'll see you next time.